Well, hey, y'all, welcome in. Oh my gosh, I have a great, fantastic show set up for us tonight. I have done an interesting remote viewing target tonight. I decided to look into children who had been lost in the woods who claimed to have been protected and cared for by bears, by wild bears, y'all. Now, you know, I'm the Cryptid Huntress. It sounds fishy to me. Okay, so I assume that it might not have been bears. So we did a nice little remote viewing target of that. Looked into two separate cases, one from 2019 of a 3-year-old boy, and the other case is from 1955 of a little girl. I think she was around 2 years old out of Montana. So I only had time to do those two. There are many more cases, and we are definitely going to talk about that tonight. I have a wonderful guest here. Once again, I have John Vandeventer here in the studio, and he is an author of the Relic series. Okay, so I'm going to introduce him in just a second. In the meanwhile, you guys, please go check out my website. I know my website was down yesterday. I don't know what was going on, GoDaddy or what, whatever that was. But it's back up. It's thecryptidhuntress.com. All of my shows are there. All of my events that I'm going to be speaking at and presenting at, those are all there. So go check that out. Thecryptidhuntress.com. Okay. If you'd like to support what I'm doing and you'd like access to my remote viewing data, you can become a member of my Patreon. And that's where I post all of my raw remote viewing data. And honestly, there's a lot of stuff that I don't talk about publicly that is in that data because I don't want my channel shut down. Okay, so if you'd like to access all of that, especially with some very sensitive targets, like I'm going to have next week. Okay, I have a big announcement. I did a target for next week. I actually was going to do it tonight, but it was such a big data dump. Okay, that on such a historical event that Barry Littleton is going to come on my show next Thursday, and we're going to discuss. I'll go ahead and tell y'all right now. We're going to be talking about Patty and the Bluff Creek incident next Thursday, and I remote viewed that today, and it's affected me all day today. I'm not going to lie. Okay. And so that's going to be an extremely interesting remote viewing target for next week. We're going to be promoting that for the next week. Barry has a video to release on Saturday regarding the incident. And we're going to make an event out of it. Okay. Because I think there's a lot of stuff that's been hidden from the public. It's going to be very divisive. There's going to be a lot of people that get mad. Okay. That's all I got to say about that. So you guys join me next Thursday. And that's going to be the Bluff Creek incident with Patty. I've remote viewed it. Okay. And so we're going to go there. And there's some of that data I am not going to say publicly. So if you guys would like to see it, you can go to my Patreon and become a member. And I'll have all that posted there next Thursday night. Okay, awesome. Well, you guys, if you'd like to support what I do, I've got a shop called War Woman Goods. Y'all can go check that out. And also, all these events I'm going to be at. We have the Spaced Out Radio Fan Party, May 19th through the 21st in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Golden Nugget. Then I go to Grafton, Illinois, to the Journey to Truth Conference. That's May 22nd through the 25th. And then I have the Paranormal Roundtable, 2nd Annual Dogman Cryptid Conference. And I am so excited about all three of those. I'll be there, so y'all come see me, okay? Okay, well, let's get to our guest tonight. I have my friend, author John Vandeventer. He is the author of the Relics book series, which is amazing. It's fantastic. It's about Sasquatch, UFOs, Antarctica, all that craziness. A lot of you think he's got some inside information Bigfoot and stuff. But really great series. He also has a youth novel series called Shadow Chasers. I actually have my copy right here. It's actually my son's copy of his latest book that just came out. This is Haunted Sky. So you guys, please help me welcome to the show, Mr. John Vandeventer. Hey,
Hello
John.
there. Thanks
Hey.
for having me on again.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. I know you are a perfect person to talk to about this tonight. Children being taken care of by bears in the woods. Now, and I got to say, John, this was suggested to me by Barry Littleton. So shout out to Barry Littleton for
Yeah,
suggesting this target. I think
he
this is a
puts you on
perfect
some
one.
really good targets. I've noticed Barry does.
Well, yes, he does. I think that he's got some great ideas because he's been doing a lot of research for so long. I think it kind of makes a good team. He and I, him offering the suggestions and me remote viewing it, and and I'm open to suggestions from the audience on remote viewing targets. And so, yeah, John, if you ever have any, you let me know. We'll remote view
I
it.
will.
Okay.
In fact, I have one pop in my head just now. I'll get with you after the show.
Ooh, write it down. Don't forget it. Okay, write it down. And yeah, this is something that has really been very perplexing to me. As the cryptid huntress, I am suspicious, John, when I hear that a kid survived for days on end in the woods where I go camping. I do bigfooting. I know how dangerous those woods are, and for a bear to take in a child and not eat it, you know, does that sound normal to you? Because it doesn't
No,
sound normal to me.
I remember the first time I started hearing these stories. And the thing of it is, they actually happen. I mean, there's actual newspaper accounts. A child is missing, their child is found. And then they say, well, a bear took care of me, a bear fed me, a bear kept me warm. So there's something to it, but you have to wonder they're seeing something else and they just think it's a bear, confuse it with a bear. So,
Well, I know something that looks a lot like a bear that's not a bear.
well, yeah, I think that's my first place to jump to as well. It was a Sasquatch, that kept them alive. Just had since it is another sapien type creature, they just had pity on it, kept it alive. But when I heard you were doing this, I didn't know what stories you were going to do, so I'm really excited. I assumed you'd do the 2021 one and the 2019, but you're going back to 55, so I'm really excited to hear what you found.
Yes, I did a modern day one that's like recent, and then I did one that went back. I mean, they go all the way back to the 1800s.
Right.
Reported, there's probably a lot more, but reported
Well, I
bear
first got
stories.
this from reading David Paulides' Missing 411, and there was one back in 1868. A 3-year-old girl disappeared, and they hunted for her for days. And then as they closed in on where she was, they weren't even sure they were near her. A large, they said, bear-looking animal ran away from them and jumped in the river. They didn't get a good look at it. And then the little girl told them it was Mr. Wolf, and Mr. Wolf fed her and played with her and kept her warm for the day she was
Wolf.
gone.
Ooh,
Um,
a Mr. Wolf.
Mr.
Interesting.
Wolf, yes. And
My, what big teeth he had.
oh yeah, it does go right into that again. And there was even some that weren't so friendly. A group of 3 children, and this was back in the 1800s as well, were lost or came up missing. And when the searchers found them a couple of days later, they were actually hiding under a log jam, because they said there was big monkey people were looking for them and trying to get to them. So,
Oh, that's
and again, that's
heartbreaking.
from a, that's
That's
from a David
scary.
Paulides story. And I wish I would have had more time to do, research more stories, but there's a lot of stories on this.
Yeah, there are a lot of stories, and I've read the David Paulides, the North American series, like that volume of his book series. I've read that. It gets very redundant and it's kind of monotonous.
Yeah.
Like the stories sound so similar that you get about halfway through the book and you're like, well, should I just keep reading because it's the same stuff? It's like the same story with different people over and over again. Wandering off in the woods, picking berries, being the last in line when they're hiking or the
Yeah.
first. Kids
Don't be
wandering
last and don't
off.
be first.
Don't be. I know. Get in the middle. Yeah.
Pays
When
the
my
average.
right. Well, when my team is out in the field, and let's just say we don't usually take people that aren't our team with us ever. Occasionally we do though, and there was one weekend we had some people with us, and we were doing some trekking up the mountain. And one of the guys on my team and he took the rear and I took the front, and we made sure that they were in between us the entire time. And these were grown men, okay, but they didn't know the area, and so we had to make sure that we were protecting them, because we know the dangers of portals and Sasquatch and whatever's out there. They were going to get me or my buddy first, probably. Well, he was going to be in the back so he could shoot them. So if we had to, I guess. Not the people with us, y'all. Not the people, but any threats, okay? So, anyways, there's an art to it, right? I mean, it's very tactical, basically, when you're out there, and you got to have a plan when you're out in the field, and that's words of wisdom, okay? Ask me how I know. We have to be very careful. But anyways, I don't recommend taking little kids out hiking late at night in the woods, John.
No.
And I certainly don't. I certainly don't ever want my son to get lost in the woods. My gosh, I got to tell you, when I did this target, I was devastated because I was actually feeling the emotions of these children. Okay, and it was really sad. And when they encountered this bear, okay, each of them, because I did 2 targets, each of them, especially the first one from 2019, I'm going to get into this more in detail in a minute. But when I remote viewed, I think his name was Casey, what was his name? Casey Hathaway. I did that case first. And the sense of relief that he got when that bear came and took care of him and calmed him, it actually calmed him down. And we're going to get into that because I don't know if bears calming kids down. I've never heard of that before, except teddy bears. Okay, and so but the sense of calm, like when I got to that part, when I was remote viewing that part, I calmed down just like that kid did. And so I'm just going to say I don't think that was a bear at all. Okay. But anyways, this is a very interesting topic. It happens more than we know, and I think that bears and Sasquatch look a lot alike, John. I think they do, especially to little kids. Okay.
Yeah, I think kids have a hard time distinguishing one animal from another. Um, like you got your little kitty books and they got all the happy little creatures in them, but when you're out in the wild and you actually see the real thing, you know, um,
Yeah.
I remember we moved up there to Oklahoma. We were on the highway between Tallahena and Mena, Arkansas, and it's a really beautiful drive. It's a scenic drive, and we came around a corner, and it was the first time we'd gone out up here after we moved here, and there was a bear sitting in the road. But as I came around the corner, I couldn't tell what it was. I just saw this big brownish black blob sitting in the middle of the road. And I was like, okay, this is it. It's a Sasquatch. And he got up and I was like, oh, it's just a bear.
It's just a bear. Well, my dog. I lost my dog on what was it? Yesterday. I guess it was yesterday. My dog ran away down at our
Oh,
farm, and she got lost in the tall hay out in the pasture and chasing a critter, and I couldn't find her for 2 hours. It was horrible. I actually contacted my mentor, the head of my team, who taught me remote viewing. We were both trying. I was having a hard time remote viewing myself, and honing in on her location because I was so upset. But he was able to help me. We ended up finding her, and my mother, who's in the chat tonight, she brought her dog down to try to help. And they found my dog. She was across the lake. She had gotten in the pasture. She found her way to the edge of the lake and was panicking and trying to swim across this lake. And her leg got caught in her car harness, so she couldn't swim. And it was just a mess. And but my mother thought she was a bear at first. She couldn't tell that was even my dog because
wow.
she's a big German Shepherd. She looked just like a bear. Okay, so it's easy to misidentify animals. Okay, that was my point. It's very easy to misidentify creatures. Okay, and so yeah, that's my story about seeing a bear. It wasn't a bear, it's my dog. Okay, well let's just get into it tonight, John. Let's talk about the first target. How about that?
Yes, I'm ready.
And Okay, so let me kind of touch on my printer gave out of ink. So of course, right before the show. So I have a couple of things to kind of go down the list. I was able to print out one article. So instead of my notes, I'm going to read from this article. And I'm not even sure what this article is. I think it's called From the Outsider. It was online. Okay. It says in 2019, a 3-year-old boy named Casey Hathaway went missing while playing outside his grandmother's house. This is in North Carolina. Okay. Despite enduring the freezing temperatures and heavy rain, it has a happy ending because he survived this experience after a couple of days. I think he was out there for like 2 or 3 days. And he said it was thanks to a bear who kept him safe and warm. So they sent out search teams looking for this kid. Every day, people from all over were out, searching for him. And the law enforcement, the U.S. Marines, professional search teams, and volunteers did go looking for him. That's a lot of manpower right there. But he was found after a neighbor was walking her dog and heard him crying from the bushes about 40 to 50 yards away from the road. He was relatively unscathed, just scrapes and bruises. And he told his family, when he was in the hospital, he told them about the bear. He said the creature looked after the boy until he was found. He said he hung out with the bear for 2 days. That's what his aunt wrote on Facebook. She said, God sent him a friend to keep him safe. God is a good God. Miracles do happen. Okay. And that's interesting that quote was in here because I had not read this article. When I remote viewed this, I had no idea that this quote was in there. I actually am just tearing up because I just am reading this. I hadn't read this before. Yeah, that's really sad. It's got a lot to do with my data. Okay. Yeah, but there are also other accounts, okay, and this is in the article. There are other accounts. In 1888, the New York Times reported a 2-year-old girl was found in a valley and claimed a bear had kept her warm. In 1955, another 2-year-old named Ida Mae Curtis spent 2 days in the Kootenai, I don't know how to pronounce that, National Forest in Montana, and was comforted by a bear while she was there. Okay, that's... And you have another story, John, and we'll get into that after I go over my data, okay, with the 2021 incident. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get to the first one. Okay, the first target. I got Ida Mae. Okay, we're going with Casey right now. Okay, so Casey is the 3-year-old boy. I do have pictures of him. I guess it's okay to show them because they were all over the news. And so I'm going to take that as I'm able to show these tonight. I'm just going to show a couple of pictures of this little boy. He's the cutest little thing. Okay, this is him. This is Casey. Okay, and that's a bear. Now I believe he said that the bear was black. Okay, which is interesting because my data, I actually had brown in my data, but I think somebody in some article I read they said it was black. Okay. Not that it matters. Who knows? Okay. Well, here's a picture of a black bear. This is him in the hospital. Okay. Look how little. He's just so tiny and delicate looking, John. It's kind of sad, right? It's a miracle, though.
Yes.
That he survived that. And I know there's a lot of bears in North Carolina. Okay. And so it's something that we have to look out for when we are Bigfooting. And also, we have to know how to identify a bear versus a Sasquatch. Okay, because they can be misidentified, like I said. Nick Valente, my friend with the International Dogman Project, was sent on a case in North Carolina of a dogman sighting, a possible dogman. Well, it turned out it was just a big, gigantic bear with a long snout, longer than normal. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of misidentification there. Okay, all right, let's get to it. So. My sensory data was coming up. Now, if anybody wants to see all my data, you can go to my Patreon, okay? But I was picking up on the child. Okay, apparently it was like his emotions. It was like him being disoriented, dizzy, scared, not knowing where he was, crying, very emotional. And I got super emotional when I was remote viewing this. But he was like his energy was like ramped up really high, right? And what I was picking up on was that he was like a beacon of light in that forest. Okay, this was all in my data here. He was a beacon of light, and something it caught something's attention. Okay. Now, not anywhere in this data do I have anything about a bear. Okay. There's no bear in this data, John. Not at all. However, I did pick up on a Bigfoot. It was absolutely a Sasquatch. It was a female Sasquatch, as a matter of fact, but it caught this Sasquatch's attention because he was shining like a beacon of light. Okay, and it was radiating this energy. And I got maybe all the kids have this. I'm not sure, but I picked up on helpers, his angel, and God sent it. God sent this thing to this boy. So, this is gonna make me cry because I had not read this article about the ant saying that God sent him, because I had this in my data. Okay, so but anyways, the kid has a bigger purpose. Okay, he had a bigger purpose, and so the Bigfoot, it was actually a female Bigfoot, and she inherently knew that that he had a bigger purpose. She had to take care of him. Okay, and but there was a mutual respect, and it was really wild because when I was picking up on him being so frantic and scared, as soon as she came to him, she was very motherly, and she started. I wrote down telepathy, but it was more like an energetic exchange where she let him know that he was safe. Okay, which was really wild because they didn't speak any language together or anything like that, but it was just an energetic kind of thing. Okay, where he immediately felt safe with her. Okay, and she actually was, like I said, I wrote down telepathy, but it was very playful. She was very understanding. She was communicating with him the whole time, but it wasn't through language. Okay, it wasn't through vocal language, but because. I mean, I kind of was picking up that she was lonely too. It was almost like she was kind of like, it was like she treated him like her child. Okay. And then
Did you
she
get any
gave him,
vibe that maybe she had lost a child? Anything
I
like that?
didn't. I didn't. I just got that she was lonely. Okay. And that he was lonely. Like they just kind of were like brought to each other. And she actually even fed him and like gave him some shelter, like put him somewhere to keep him, gave him some shelter. And then she knew that she had to try to put him a place. The very last bit of my data was she had to put him somewhere where people could find him. And so she's the one, she actually put him there in those briars so that somebody would find him. It's like he was kind of safe there. So I didn't mean to get emotional on that one. That was weird.
No, it's not
But yeah,
weird.
but I picked up
It's
on it
human.
though, and so it's. I have a kid, and so and I lost my dog yesterday. I know how it feels to lose something that you love very much. And yeah, but I picked up on all that. So if anybody had any questions as to whether this kid was actually taken care of by a bear, I'd say absolutely not. It wasn't a bear at all. It was definitely a Bigfoot. Okay. And so how do you feel? Does that surprise you, John?
Well, yeah, no, it doesn't. But I do have to say, I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. I sent you a video a couple hours ago after I figured I was going to be on the show. Video of a
Yes.
bear actually bringing a toddler to people, and it's got the toddler's garment in its mouth behind its neck, and it's actually brings this baby to a group of people, and the baby's alive. It's
Wow.
not hurt. Oh, you may get a chance to look at it after the.
I'll look at it. I hadn't had a chance to see that.
Now, see, I'd never heard of that, but it came up when I was searching for these other incidents, and but no, I cannot see. I just can't see a bear doing it. But obviously, there's film of
It
it
could.
actually happening. But
I
for one
I
thing, the way some of
think it
these
could.
kids describe it, it would have to have an opposing thumb on how it fed them and how it did things for them. If you look deeper into the stories and what the kids say. So
Yeah.
I just don't see a bear being able to manipulate things the way that's described in some of these stories.
Well, to care for the child though, and what my data was saying that was suggesting that the being gave him shelter, and fed him in some
fed
way.
him and
So
hugged him, and
bears aren't going to do that. I mean, they might
yeah.
go eat a raccoon or throw some dead meat over at the kid. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure anything's possible.
Well,
We're not
bear's
sure
not
what
going to carry
animals.
anything with his paw either, and hand him things.
That's right.
Yeah, it's going to drop it, from its snout or whatever. So
Yes. Yeah. That comment that was up here. No, I didn't pick up on any kind of Fey intervention. What is that? Alien woods. Yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't pick up on any kind of other elemental stuff at all. It was straight Bigfoot. I picked up on one lonely Bigfoot, and it was literally lonely. Okay, and but very motherly, and brought this kid in, and immediately calmed him, and just took care of him for a couple of days. So that's what I saw. That's what the data says. So, but there was nothing else involved with that. It was strictly just a Bigfoot taking care of them. Now, we have seen pictures over the past few years of Bigfoots, Bigfoot mothers, right, with their kids and stuff. So we'll see. As a matter of fact, Patty might have been a mother. Okay, that's what a lot of people say, that she was a mother. There's some kids in the pictures with her. We have these pictures of the mother with the baby that was walking in the boulder yard, I think is what they call it. I can't remember the name of this, of that footage. Somebody in the chat will know. But this is a video of a mother carrying her baby, and I think here's another shot of it. This is similar to what I was seeing, was taking care of this child. Now, I would say it was like a Patty type. Like, there's different types of Sasquatch, and Patty from the Patterson Gimlin film looks very similar to what we're looking at right here in this picture, and that's also what was taking care of this child. Okay, now that could be mistaken for a bear, John, pretty easily.
I've seen that video, and I think that's one of the better ones I've seen. And if you watch the movement closely, it doesn't appear to me to be a human in a suit. I mean, the movement's not very human-like, in my opinion. Now I see videos sometimes. I'm like, oh, no. You can tell it's a suit, but that looks really authentic. It's been a couple years since I watched the video, but that was one of the first videos I came across when I was researching for the first novel. So kind of sticks in my head.
Yes. Well, I think that's called like the 4th of July footage or something like that. I'm pretty sure. I think I just talked with Trey from Squatch Me Now about that the other night. And I believe that's some kind of 4th of July footage there, but correct me if I'm wrong, people. Okay. So everybody in the chat, somebody will know. Yeah, it was definitely a Sasquatch, according to my data. That took care of him, and I was not picking up on, like I said, with the fairy or the fae comment, the question that I had a while ago. I did not pick up on any kind of supernatural stuff going on. It was just I guess as you say, a flesh and bone, flesh and blood Bigfoot taking care of that kid. So yeah, everybody, thank you. I want to thank all my people in chat and all my moderators. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Y'all are the best, and I'm sorry if I don't keep up with the comments like I should. But yeah. This got me very emotional, okay? And I think I was even more emotional because I had just remote viewed this lovely lady right here, and this incident with our friend Patty, okay? And we're going to be talking about that next week. This is something that I wanted to stay away from, John, because I always kind of, in the back of my mind, I thought something more had happened there at Bluff Creek, but I didn't know for sure. Well, guess what? I know the real deal now. I know exactly what happened. And so I hope everybody will tune in for that. But Patty was a mother, okay, and so they do. I pick up on a lot of human traits with these Bigfoots and stuff when I'm remote viewing them, John, and so I think that they have emotions just like we do. They're not just an animal. I believe that they are like humans.
I believe there's more to them than just animal too. I think if it was just, I think a lot of people, when they first start getting into the Bigfoot phenomenon, you have a tendency to think, okay, it's an ape. It's just an undiscovered ape because that makes you that keeps you safe. That keeps you from going off the
Yeah.
ledge or going to the woo or whatever they want to call it. But the more you study these things and the more you see the reports from people and some of the weird things that go along with them, there's got to be more to them than just an ape. Um, but then again, if one's ever caught and studied and we can get all the answers, you know, everybody will be a genius after that. So my opinion is no more valid than anybody else's. It's just happens to be what I believe as far as their existence. It's got to be more to them than just pure animal.
Yeah, it's it's definitely more. I would say they're a people, and a lot of Native Americans tribes said that they're just like another tribe. Okay, and so I would have to agree with that statement.
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of tribes that's how they treat them. They're just another tribe. They're a bigger human, area or whatever. But a lot of the First Nations people just that was another tribe. That's how they looked at them.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I am. I don't know. I think that it's. I don't. I'm still emotional about this for some reason, and it's hard to come out of this one for some reason. And I think it's because I did two targets where children were like panicked and upset, and I don't like that. I don't like that
Yeah,
feeling.
that's
You
hard to
know.
do. Plus,
Yeah.
you did the Patty thing. Plus, you had a very busy weekend. So, yeah, I can see how it would happen.
It's been a crazy month so far, and it can only get better. But my goodness, things are hot. There's a hot mess going on over here. I'm the Hot Mess Express. Not a
Did you see?
boss.
Did
Yeah,
you see Marty's comment there? It's from the Freeman footage.
it's the Freeman footage. That's right. I think that's. I think that was the 4th of July too, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was. But the Freeman footage, that's what it is. I can't keep all these things straight. There's so much footage out there, but that's a good one though. The mama and the baby. That's a really good one, and it just can't stuff to me that just can't be faked. Try walking over gravel with no shoes on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Right.
hard enough just walking in gravel, but to be such a hulking figure, if somebody was wearing a monkey suit in those gigantic boulders and carrying a baby too, of all things, like that's just dangerous and hard. So I don't believe that was faked. I think that's a real Bigfoot and a baby. Oh, and this is a good point. So Alien Woods has a good point. A lot of people go missing in boulder fields or in heavy quartz areas. That's a great point. Okay, because where we do research, where I've been called out to investigations before, where there's a ton of Bigfoot activity in state parks here in Georgia. There's one in particular, John. It was up in northeast Georgia, and there was quartz everywhere. I've never seen so much quartz in my entire life. There were just veins of quartz throughout the entire park. And so, of course, I always bring my quartz home with me. I have a big collection of it. But yeah, I think that it's a conductor of some sort. I believe it's a conductor of high strangeness out there in the
They
fields.
granite boulder fields have had the same thing as the quartz boulder fields as far as
Yeah,
disappearances and weird things happening as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, so I have made that comment before that I take quartz from every investigation I have. So that would imply that there's quartz in every place that I go. A
Well,
lot of it.
there you go. And where do you
Yeah.
go? You go where the Bigfoot are.
I
So,
go where the Bigfoots are. I mean, I'm not out
or the
there for
UFO
nothing.
sightings, or yeah.
All of it. It's a mixed bag. Usually where there are Bigfoots, there are UFOs and portals and whatever else. Interdimensionals. We can go down the list. But yeah, it's it's definitely a factor. So that's a good point, Alien Woods. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. Okay. So we've checked that off the list. Okay. So Casey was taken care of by a Bigfoot. Right. And it was interesting because I feel like his aunt was like, and his mom, I think his parents were probably like, yeah, it was a bear. Absolutely was a bear. Don't ask any more questions. Good night. Okay. Which is a good way to go. I wouldn't prod around with my son and be like, hey, you got to tell me it was, publicly or whatever, because then you're the crazy ones like, oh, my son was taken care of by Bigfoot, but ultimately, so Bigfoots are not always mean. They have motherly instincts, okay, just like us.
Do you see
Now,
you have the greeting up there from Bigfoot Museum of Oklahoma,
yes.
Utah Ranch Project? Okay, that's down in Tallahena. And the curator for that, and the owner, Tanya Kordak, she actually lived in this house
Oh
for a couple of years
my.
before it went up for sale, and we bought it. But she had sightings up here, and she'll tell you they're more of a people than animal. And if
I get
anybody's
that.
going through Oklahoma or anywhere near Tallahena, stop by there. Plus, she's having a Bigfoot conference on May 20th and 21st in Tallahena. It's going to be like 8 speakers, so it's going to be really good if anybody can get
Wow.
there.
That's awesome. Well, you guys have a lot of Bigfoot activity out there. You actually have Bigfoots on your property. So I would assume she knows about the Bigfoots on that property, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, we don't have to get into details about that if you don't want, but I know you've had some sightings, at least one or
Yeah, we've
two.
had that. Now it's not like they're parked out here. Only got 5 acres. But
Well, that's
yeah,
that's a nice plot of
and then the
land.
Choctaw gentleman across the road from me, when I told him about what I'd seen, he confirmed. He goes, "Yeah, that's a path. They come right down that mountain and they go right behind his property down to the river." So he said he'd seen them there before too.
Oh my gosh. Do they ever mess with your house and come up and bang on your
No,
house
I
or
mean we
anything?
had, we had some weird stuff happening for a while. Rocks in the pool and pine cones showing up where there's no pine trees and laid out on a ledge in
Oh,
front of the house, in front of the carport actually. Um, but it's been quiet for the past 3 years now. I don't know if we were a new fun attraction or curiosity, but they changed. They started heavily harvesting timber on the north range of mountains here, and since that's
oh,
happened, it's been really quiet.
oh. Well, maybe they've migrated out somewhere,
They
to
may
get away
have.
from that. Yeah. That's really sad. Digger Dog has a great point. Melba Ketchum shows they're part human with her DNA study. Absolutely. They're like, I think they're human on the mother side, right? And then something else on the
Right. The,
other
the
on the
but yeah,
mitochondrial side or something, the
yes,
dad side.
and the other
They
side was unknown. And
unknown. Yeah. Unknown, and I know that that Duke has been having Dr. Ketchum on his show and Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio. That's my channel over there, y'all. Y'all check me out every Saturday and Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, we've had Dr. Ketchum on Spaced Out Radio in the past week. To talk about that her studies as well. So those are legitimate studies, and it's really sad that people coming out with this real evidence and the real information get shadow banned, made fun of, blacklisted. So I can understand why, the families, if the kid did say that it was a Bigfoot that took care of him, they probably wouldn't want that to get out.
right. Well,
Um,
it's same way here. There's people that will laugh at you if you said you've seen one, and there's people who claim to see one, and these are people who lived here their whole lives. Some have encountered them, some haven't. So their beliefs tend to be what they've seen or haven't seen. That's how their belief is structured. So
that's right.
you've got to take everything with a grain of salt. You know,
Yeah.
and some people will make fun of you. And some people get upset. But it's funny, even the ones that'll make fun of the people that said they've seen it. And this is kind of a quote from one of the guys from the CJO Nubby. He said, "Yeah, they'll make fun of you, but boy, they'll make $1 off of it every
Oh,
October." So, you
isn't
know,
that sad?
yeah,
I know. They will. They'll make a TV show out of it and make fun of everybody. Like we're a bunch of hillbilly rednecks and stuff, telling our Bigfoots to get out of here, get that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I have to be careful. I have been approached to do a TV show or two, and I'm very hesitant because I know the light that they'll put you in and make you. There's a tendency to make people look kind of crazy. Okay, I'm just gonna say
yeah.
it. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's always that. There's
I'm
always
already
that
looking
smirk
crazy.
or that,
So
little grin, that little extra laugh on the report. And it's funny. They used to do that with UFO reports on television. There's always, let's not take it too serious until we started getting those videos from the U.S. Navy. And now they don't do that quite as much anymore.
that's right. That's right. Oh, so I'm behind on the comments. I just want to say Low Range Overland. That's my friend Craig, who's one of my teammates. He was with me at that state park where he went and investigated with us. And, yeah, he and I were the ones that were experiencing all those quartz veins out there. And we still talk about that to this day. There was so much quartz out there. So welcome, Craig. Thank you for being here today. So, yeah, wow, I am really behind on these comments. So, yeah, and thank you for everybody in the chat that's asking how I'm doing. I'm feeling much better today. I've been sick for the past couple of weeks, but I keep pushing on, and so I'm feeling a little bit better today. So thank y'all so much. Y'all are awesome. Okay, so Paul is really awesome at suggesting targets for me, and he said, "I wonder if stories of feral children are kids raised by Bigfoot." That's interesting. It's very interesting you said that. That will bridge us into the next topic, the next target, okay? Because I actually also looked into, in 1955, a 2-year-old Ida Mae Curtis, who was lost in the Kootenai, I don't know how to pronounce that, y'all. I'm so sorry. The National Forest out in Montana, okay? And she was found, she was gone for a while. I can't remember how long she was gone, but she was comforted by a bear while she was lost in the forest. Okay, and my data was very interesting on this one. Okay, very interesting because I didn't pick up just like a straight up Sasquatch. What I picked up was more of a wild man found her, and it wasn't just one. There were seven. It was like a family of wild men, but if you've watched my shows in the past, you know something about the different types of Sasquatch. A wild man is like a Sasquatch. This is a Neanderthal type Sasquatch. I think it's called I want to say a type 4, I think. If I'm not mistaken, let's see. I do have, hold on, let me take this comment down so we can see it. And we're going to go here. Okay, so we have, type 4. So we have type 1, type 2, type 3 and 4. Okay, 3 would be like the what do you call them? The Kushtaka or not Kushtaka, Gugwe, sorry. And the type 4 would be the Neanderthal. And there's something else that I remote viewed, John. That was the legend of Paul Bunyan. Okay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I did. Well, I can't remember what state it's in. I think it's Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, it's not Iowa. Somewhere up north.
Dakota,
Minnesota.
either North or South Dakota.
It was like, I think it was like Minnesota or Wisconsin or something. Please forgive me, everybody, because I don't remember. It's been a while. But their archives, like their national archive or their state archives department or something like that, has on file a drawing of the actual person that Paul Bunyan was based off of. The character was based off of. He was actually a lumberjack, but he wasn't human. Okay, and if you look at that picture, you can clearly see he's like a wild man. Okay, and I remote viewed this for my friend Glenn, who's one of my teammates, suggested I looked into that. It was like a type 4 Sasquatch which would be like a Neanderthal human kind of, but super hairy. But with superhuman strength, and he looks more human than any of the other Bigfoots. But he is a type of a Bigfoot, and that's what I picked up on at Montana. That was taking care of this little girl who said she was comforted by bears. Okay, but it was more like just a hairy man. So out of two out of two that I did remote view, these cases of children being taken care of by bears, they were both taken care of by Sasquatch people. So, go figure, John. Right? I will go over a little bit of my data tonight. Okay, let me take this down. I will go over some of my data. Okay, so I believe that they actually even built a fire for her. I was picking up on a fire or something in this data, which was interesting because you don't hear about Bigfoots or maybe wild men, but not Sasquatch, like the patty type, really building fires. I mean, I don't hear that very often, but I was picking up on some sort of fire. I was getting kind of feral people. I mean, that's kind of what it was almost like wild men slash feral people. Okay,
Well,
and so that was
that's not out of the realm of impossibility at all. I mean,
okay.
um, there's probably roving bands of feral people that may been out there for generations, hundreds of years, maybe more, and they're managing just to stay out of touch with humans. Modern humans.
Yeah.
Um, but I could see that being something that can happen.
Well,
I mean, it's not a stretch. They're it's one of the human natures we have is a lot of people resist change. We tend to not like it. We tend to either be overly excited about it or overly dreading it. It's usually change is usually accepted more enthusiastically by young people, and the older people it's like, no, please, I can't. I'm busy with what I got now. Don't throw anything else at me. So I could see that happening over the centuries.
yes, absolutely. Well, this was 1955. Okay, and I don't know, not to say it's a whole lot different than today or whatever, but who knows? There's still feral humans running around the woods. It's something else that I guess you kind of have to watch out for when you're out there doing field research and things like that. You just have to watch out for any person. Wild humans, but I was picking up a wild man, and it was not only one wild man, but it was out in the wilderness. I was getting something like there were several of them. Okay, so it was like a family of kind of like wild men, which can be interpreted as Bigfoot, but it was like I picked up a tribe. Okay, a tribe. It was a tribe of wild men. Okay, forest people. I also picked up forest people, and they found the people. I guess a search team or somebody was sent out. I don't know. I picked up on canvassing, so like I guess people had gone out to look for her and they found her, but she had been taken care of by an entire tribe. There was like 7 people, so that's not a whole tribe probably, but I picked up on a tribe of wild men. Okay, took care of her, and by wild men, I'm assuming there are wild women in there too. So not gender specific, I guess, whatever that means. So, but yeah, so she was taken care of by beings that weren't completely human, John. But she came back safe. I mean, it was making me think when I was doing these targets. I was thinking about that heron bee. Do you remember that gorilla? That
Oh
I
yeah,
guess it was at a zoo, and a kid fell in the enclosure, and he went to go. I don't know if he was going to hurt him or help him. A lot of people think he was going over to help the kid, and they ended up like killing the
I
gorilla
know.
or whatever, which was really sad. But you know, it's just the nature of these wild animals, though. You just don't know what they're going to do.
No, you can't communicate with them, so you don't know what their intentions are. And um, as a human species, has the ability to dictate the outcome of something, dictate. Well, since I'm not sure, you're out of the picture, and they take them out, and it's unfortunate, but at the same time, you don't want a child's life to get taken away because an animal's being an animal, and an animal can't help but be an animal, and they shouldn't be judged for it. But there comes a
Right.
point where you're going to have to side with the human life. you know.
Yeah.
So
Us humans got to
it's
stick together.
unfortunate. Yeah,
Right. I know. I say that and I'm thinking of all this AI stuff that's going on. I'm like, us real humans need to stick together.
yeah.
The real humans, whatever that means. Isn't that an odd statement to have to say, us real humans?
Yes.
That's odd. Who would ever thought we were going to be saying something like that?
Well, you're hitting an interesting subject with the AI that's coming in the
Hey, Garth.
the melding of man and machine. It could very well come down to real humans. Way before we expect it. Um,
Yeah.
it's something. It's
Yeah,
something
it's
to
scary.
fathom. It really is.
It is. Just, type 2 Sasquatch gals are super cute, Overbill. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think so. I don't remember which one's a type 2. Let's look at the type 2. Let's just get an idea of what we're talking about here. Overbuilt. Let's see. What's the type 2 one again? Hold on. Let me take your comment down. People that are listening on podcast format, y'all can't see this right now, but we'll explain it to you. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get that.
I don't know.
Let's see. Type 2.
I don't think I agree.
I don't know. That's a pretty one. It's very gorilla-ish, okay, and yeah, it depends on your preference, you know. Absolutely, they can be beautiful. I don't know. Everybody and everything is beautiful in its own way. Absolutely. So, yes, especially when she gets angry. I bet she's super cute. Just kidding.
That's one of those closing time gals there, you know. And closing down
the whiskey glasses girl,
guys as well.
Right. Need a pair of whiskey glasses, right, for that one, But anyways, yes, let's not, I should not be, I'm not making fun. I'm only kidding. Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah. So this is a great
myself, so I should keep my mouth shut.
Oh my gosh. So Roger Davies, he has a great comment. I don't believe a bear would pass up an easy meal. It was a Bigfoot.
Hey, Roger,
I agree 100%.
That's one of my old Air Force buddies. Served with him in Arizona.
What's up, Roger? Thank you for being here tonight. Yeah, I agree with Roger. I don't think that a bear or any kind of predatory animal would pass up a delicious meal of, or not, to me it wouldn't be delicious, but to them, a delicious little appetizer of a kid. You know what I mean? Why would they? It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's one of the arguments of it not being a bear, okay? Because it would have definitely eaten it. Anunnaki bro, I'm looking forward to meeting you at the PRT conference too. So I hope everybody's getting your tickets for that. They may sell out. I don't know. It's going to be a big conference. That's out in Fort Worth, Texas on Labor Day weekend. So everybody come see us out there. It's going to be really fun. Yeah. So we're talking about the AI still. It is definitely. It's more of a threat to us than Bigfoot, okay? And bears eating our kids. It's the AI. That's a bigger threat, wouldn't you say so, John?
Yeah, I would, accept sharks. I'm still scared of sharks. That's like, I love to go to the ocean, but I don't like to get water over my head because I've always just got this fear of one coming up from under me and just whoop, you're gone, you know?
Right. Oh my gosh, yes. Well, oh my gosh. Well, this is a very interesting show, John. And I don't know. What do you guys have going on out in Oklahoma right now? Is there any more new Bigfoot sightings out there?
Nothing I've heard of. I mean, it's been really quiet. I sent you some pictures too of cattle mutilation in the last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
so I need to check my messages.
And that was here in Oklahoma, not too far away. There's some people just to the northwest of me here that have been seeing UFOs. But as far as Bigfoot stuff, I haven't heard of anything recently coming out of the state. It's been kind of like I say, it's been quiet around here, and it seemed to have been quiet everywhere. So
yeah. Oh, well, that's a good thing, I guess. That's a good
thing.
And
plus, I had the little illness thing going there for a few months. So I am just now getting back in the swing of things in the last 2 weeks. So I got a lot of catching up to do. There may be stuff going on I haven't been aware of because I've been, laying around feeling bad or something. So
I feel you. Listen, I feel you. I've been pushing through with my sickness, and it's shown in my face. So y'all can see I had red eyes for the past couple of weeks. So I've been feeling rough. I feel better today. But yeah, Harold Denton. Hey, what's up, Harold? Thanks for being here. If a bear will eat a fawn, it most definitely will eat a little toddler.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Harold there.
Okay, I do too. I absolutely do.
I think the only reason a bear would not eat a toddler is the bear had just eaten something else and, was sated. That's the only thing, otherwise I just think they would eat them or at least maul them,
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I can't see this name. Baj Kali. I think that's how you pronounce your name. If you mix Bigfoot with reptilian DNA, wouldn't it look like a human? That's interesting. Probably. Maybe. Oh, I had the most interesting conversation about reptilians with a Facebook fact checker. about 2 days ago, and it's someone I know personally, and I don't talk to him very often, but I do know him quite personally. Okay, and I do not agree with what he does. By the way, okay, I do not agree with all this. But however, I asked him some questions the other day when I was talking to him, and I said, all my videos, any video I does that has anything to do with reptilians, or I mention the word reptilian in them, like I'm doing right now, reptilian, it's going to come up with a Wikipedia context box underneath my video, and I asked him why, and I tell you, these answers, I never even thought of it and stuff, and I can't agree with it either. But I might actually do a show, John, and invite him to come on to talk about
That would
the
be a
frame
good
of
idea.
mind of the Facebook fact checkers, because all of us are getting fact checked all the time, and
Yeah,
he had an answer for everything. It doesn't mean I agree with it, but he had
yeah.
an answer, and I think that would make for an interesting show. And I don't
I
know.
was gonna make a smart aleck comment, and I thought, well, no, if he's watching, he's a fact checker, and I'll just get on his radar. So I'll just keep my mouth
Right.
shut.
Oh my gosh. Well, but the thing
I
about
need
it
to
is,
get you together with my publisher. She's really knowledgeable in the reptilian thing. I mean, she keeps me just confused. I can't keep up. She seems to have so much information. Plus, she's done remote viewing in the past.
very neat. Well,
Yeah.
I'm considering doing a show. He said that he would come on my show, and so maybe we'll do it one day, like during my daytime show, and I will bring him on. And he's a pretty well known name. A lot of people know his name from all those Facebook fact checking things. We all get fact checked. Matter of fact, I've been shadow banned a lot, really bad, and he was. Kind of justifying it all, kind of, when I was talking to him. But I got to say, it's almost like a badge of honor when you're getting fact checked now, because it just means you're right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like a lot of this stuff. It's like you're just kind of you're on the right path, in my opinion. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I may or may not do that, but I do have access to a Facebook fact checker. So if you guys would like to see me have an interview with an actual real life Facebook fact checker, y'all hit me up, put it in the comments on this video, and let me know. I mean, I may just leave it alone. I may just leave it alone and not, because in the end, it doesn't really
I
matter.
think you should remote view him.
Yeah. Well, but he had a lot to say about the reptilians, and was explaining to me why it's such a horrible thing to talk about them, because it was used to slander a certain particular group of people back in the day. So that makes it where we can't talk about it at all now. Okay.
See, right
So
there.
that's what he was telling me.
We could have the freedom to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Right. Well, it's in a whole different context, and I think that's what they don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when it
Yeah.
comes to these things, well, I probably shouldn't talk about it tonight. Okay, because we were talking about the children that were taken care of by bears
We got
in the
like
woods.
what 3 minutes left? Can we stay out
Well,
of trouble?
we have a few minutes left. Yeah. Well, I mean, this video will probably get flagged as well because I talked about it, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. It's okay. I think that I'm okay with being, talking about these things, because I think that the reptilians are a real thing, and I've remote viewed them. I know that they're real, and so it's interesting how they can be labeled one thing just to shut us up about it, you know. So I think that's the same with a lot of these things, like Sasquatch, aliens of any
Well, there's
kind,
certain tribes that won't talk about Dogman or
or skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers.
Right.
They're not going to talk about it. They have really um, deep beliefs in that way. Now, and if you're at a convention, you're going to talk about it. They will get up and leave while it's being discussed, and then come back. They don't demand you stop talking. They just choose to not listen to that. And now that I respect, but I don't respect squelching somebody's communication. Just don't.
Right. It's
I
not fair.
don't
We
care
should
if
be able to
it's
say
something I
whatever we want.
disagree with. They should have the freedom to say it, whether I like it or not.
Right. Well, what it comes down to it, Digger Dog has a great point. It's their opinion, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Is that it's their
Yeah,
opinion is
he's
what the
spot
facts
on
are.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, it's very skewed. Okay, and I think it all goes into one line of thought, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
right.
It's just a way to censor us and have us not look into these things. But we're looking into it anyways. I don't care.
Thank you, Duke.
Yeah. Yes, yes. So, like I said, if anybody wants to see me do a show with a Facebook fact checker, y'all let me know. I'm almost kind of scared to do a little bit, but you can't argue with the facts, according to the checkers, I guess. So, but anyways, look, Nancy says yes. She says yes because maybe it could prevent us from getting our video shadow ban and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But John, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. This has been a fantastic
Good.
show.
Thanks for having me.
It's always fun having you on, and we always have great conversations about this stuff. You have all your ducks in a row and have your research done, and so tell everybody where they can find your book series, Relics, and your new children's book series.
Okay, the easiest way to find them, you can find them on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, but the easiest way is go to my website. It's www.relicsbook.com. There you go. And you can order any of the books there in any format you want. Right now, it's either Kindle, paperback, or hardback for them all. Hope to get them in audio one day. Also, there's a link there where you can contact me if you have questions or, you want to tell me how much you disliked or liked the book, give a review, whatever. But yeah, you can do all of it right there at my website, www.relicsbook.com.
Okay, perfect. I highly recommend your book series, John. It is
Thank
fantastic. It's a nail biter. It kept me on the edge of my seat. It literally did. And I don't even hardly read a lot of books anymore because I don't have time, but I've read your books. They are amazing.
Well,
And
thank
like I
you.
said, I have, where did I put? Oh, here it is. The new Shadow Chasers. I don't. This is relatively new, and this is my son's copy, and so everybody get your kids these books. My son was so excited to get this. He was flipping through, going, "Man, I hope there's skinwalkers in this thing." So if it doesn't have skinwalkers, John, I highly
Well, he
recommend
read
putting
my mind
skinwalkers
because
in.
that's what the next Shadow Chasers book, I'm writing it right now. As a matter of fact, it has skinwalkers in it. So
Oh,
maybe
perfect.
Ben's been doing some remote viewing.
Yes, well, I've been teaching Ben remote viewing a little bit, so he knows how to do ideograms. So, and if anyone would like to see my data, all my complete data, you can go join my Patreon. I would love to have you guys, and that's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. All right, so everybody, please join me this weekend. I have some amazing guests. I had a couple of them in the chat tonight. I have Midwest Night Watchers coming on Spaced Out Radio Saturday night, and then on Sunday night, I have Brian Bowden, or Bowden. I always say Bowden. We have a Bowden here in Georgia. Brian Bowden is going to be my guest. He's actually a Bigfoot dogman researcher, ufologist, I guess you call it, and a pretty amazing remote viewer. So we have a lot to discuss. I did a paranormal roundtable discussion with him last night with some other guys, and we got to hang out. It was amazing. We're going to have a great time this weekend. But in the meanwhile, I am going to be getting me some rest tomorrow, and I'm going to be unpacking and resting my eyeballs tomorrow. So yeah, so y'all don't hit me up tomorrow. I'm gonna be trying to take a break for a little while, everybody. And I'm just kidding. Y'all can hit me up anytime. So John, please come back and hang out with me again
Hey, I
whenever you
love it.
can.
Anytime. And thank you folks for all the nice comments. I appreciate it. And I
Thank you.
love being on this. This is actually my favorite show to be on. So anytime.
Oh, what? Are you serious?
No, I'm
I won't.
serious.
I
Yeah,
won't tell anybody. Okay,
that's
I
what
won't
I
let the
love to
word
know.
get out. That's a compliment. That's a huge compliment. Hey, we have fun over here at the Cryptid Huntress, and
Yes, you do.
at the Cryptid Huntress channel, I guess you say, the Cryptid Huntress show. I guess that's what I've become, is a show. I am a show. So yeah, I wanted to get to all these little comments and just pull them all up before we go tonight. I know I'm going fast, but I love all you guys, and oh. Chiro Sounds is going to be on Space Out Radio with me. She's part of Midwest Night Watchers, and they came on my daytime show, John, and we were actually, that was yesterday. So we had a great discussion. We even talked for like what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours after the show got over yesterday. So okay, May the 4th be with you guys. That's that's like the cheesiest thing. I love it. I love it. May the 4th be with you guys. And y'all go have some fun on Cinco de Mayo. Everybody have a margarita for me. I might have my own tomorrow. Okay. And I will see y'all this weekend. Everybody have a wonderful night. Thank y'all so much for being here. John, you're the best.
Oh,
I'm going to
thank you.
take it. I'm going to take us out as soon as I can find this button. I will see y'all Saturday. Lock your doors tonight and sleep with your nightlight on. Bye, y'all.